ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaste, my dear friends. In this video I am going to explain and describe and define Jiva. That is a very, very important term to be understood. In Hinduism, the Jiva, in Sanskrit we call it as Jiva, is a living being or any entity imbued with a life force. The word itself originates from the Sanskrit verb root jiv, which translates as to breathe or to live. The jiv as a metaphysical entity has been described in various scriptures such as the Bhagwat Gita, Upanishads and the Vachanamrit, the teachings of Swami Narayan. Each sub-school of Vedanta describes the role of the Jiva with the other metaphysical entities in varying capacities. A common metaphysical entity discussed in the scriptures such as the Bhagwat Gita, Upanishads and Vachanamrit in the 7 schools of Vedanta is the Jiva or Atma, the soul or self. Now, how Bhagwat Gita describes Jiva. Chapter 2 of the Bhagwat Gita contains verses describing the Jiva. For example, the Jiva is described as eternal and indestructible in chapter 2 verse 20. Ne jayate miryate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va ne bhuye ajo nitya sasvato ayam prano ne hanyate hanyamane sride. In English we translate it as the soul is unborn and eternal, everlasting and primeval. It is not slain by the slaying of the body. How Upanishads describe and explain Jiva. Bala garchat bhagasya satada kalpitasya cha bhago jiva se vigye se chananitaye kalpate. In English it translates as, if the tip of the hair were to be divided into 100 parts and each part was divided into 100 more parts, that would be the dimension of the Jiva, soul. This was from Svetasara Upanishad, verse 5.9. The Svetasara Upanishad compares the Jiva and the Paramatma to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. Samane vrakshe prasuhu nimagno nisaya shochati muhimanah Justam yada pasyayan mi samasya mahimanamiti vita shokaha. In English we translate it as two birds sitting in the tree, the body. One bird, the Jiva, is enjoying the fruits of the tree, and the other, the Paramatma, is watching the Jiva. This was from Svetasara Upanishad 4.7. Vachanamrit. Swami Narayan has described the nature of the Jiva in his discourses in Vachanamrit Jitalpur 2. The Jiva is uncuttable, unpierceable, immortal, formed of consciousness and the size of an atom. You may also ask, where does the Jiva reside? Well, it resides within the space of the heart, and while staying there, it performs different functions. From there, when it wants to see, it does so through the eyes. When it wants to hear sounds, it does so through the ears. It smells all types of smells through the nose. It tastes through the tongue and through the skin. It experiences the pleasures of all sensations. In addition, it thinks through the mind, contemplates through the chitta, one of the inner faculties, and forms convictions through the intelligence, buddhi. In this manner, through the 10 senses and the 4 inner faculties, it perceives all of the sense objects, that is, objects of sensorial perception. It pervades the entire body from head to toe, yet is distinct from it. Such is the nature of the Jiva. Vachanamrit Jetalpur 2. Vedanta described Jiva as Vedanta is one of the 6 schools, Darshanam of Hindu philosophy, and it contains sub-schools that have derived their beliefs from the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutras, and the Bhagwat Gita. The aforementioned 3 scriptures are commonly referred to as the Prasthantrayi. Further information: Vedanta, Advaita Darshan. The Advaita, non-dual darshan, posits the existence of only one entity, Brahma. It considers all distinctions ultimately false, since differentiation requires more than one entity. Those distinctions empirically perceived, along with those expounded in the Prasthantrayi, are accounted for within the school by recognition of a relative reality, Vyavaharik Satta. One such distinction is that between Jivas or souls and Brahma. Understood through the paradigm of relative reality, Jivas are cloaked by Maya, Avidya, or ignorance, a state in which they are not able to realize their oneness with Brahma. Akshar Purushottam Darshan. The Akshar Purushottam Darshan, the classical name given to the set of spiritual beliefs based on the teachings of Swami Narayan, centers around the existence of 5 eternal realities as stated in 2 of Swami Narayan's sermons documented in the Vachanamrita, Gathada 1.7 and Gathada 3.10. Purushotama, Bhagwan, Akshar, Brahman, Maya, Ishvara, and Jiva. These 5 entities are eternal. From all the Vedas, Puranas, Itihas, and Smriti scriptures, the principle that Jiva, Maya, Ishvara, Brahma, and Parameshvara are all eternal. The Jiva is defined as a distinct individual soul, that is a finite sentient being. Jivas are bound by Maya, which hides their true self, which is characterized by eternal existence, consciousness, and bliss. There are an infinite number of Jivas. They are extremely subtle, indivisible, unpierceable, ageless, and immortal. While residing within the heart, a Jiva pervades the entire body by its capacity to know Jnana Shakti, making it animate. It is the form of knowledge, Jnana Swarup, as well as the knower, Jnata. The Jiva is the performer of virtuous and immoral actions, karmas, and experiences the fruits of these actions. It has been eternally bound by Maya. As a result, it roams within the cycle of birth and death. Birth is when a jiva acquires a new body, and death is when it departs from its body. Just as one abandons one's old clothes and wears new ones, the jiva renounces its old body and acquires a new one. Bheda Abheda, Dvaita Dvaita Darshan. The Bheda Abheda Darshan, founded by Nimbarak, maintains that jivas are at once distinct and part of Brahma, a middle ground of sorts between the extremes of Advaita, utter oneness, and Dvaita, utter distinctness. This notion of difference, yet non-difference, is commonly depicted through an analogy. Just as rays originates from the sun but are spatio-temporally distinct from it, so too jivas are parts of the whole, that is Brahma. Dvaita Darshan, founded by Madhava, the Dvaita dualist darshan rejects the Advaita non-dualist notion of one ultimate reality. It propounds a duality of 5 kinds, the most fundamental of which is that between jivas and Ishvara. A soul or jiva is differentiated from God or Ishvara due to the jiva's dependence on Ishvara. This state is an indication of eternal ontological distinction. Unique to this school is the idea of a hierarchy of souls, evocative of predestination. Within the system, some souls are inherently and eternally destined for liberation, others for hell, and still others for migration through the cycle of birth and death. Visishta Advaita Darshan. The Visishta Advaita Darshan proposed by Ramanuja maintains an ontological distinction between jivas and God. However, unlike in the Dvaita Darshan, the distinction is qualified. The jiva still remains dependent on God for its qualities and volition. Visishta Advaita holds, like other darshanas, that the self is Chetan, a conscious being that is made up of consciousness. The school offers many rebuttable against the Advaita conception, one of which addresses the way in which Advaita, the Jiva, Brahma, may be in a state of ignorance. The Visishta Advaita Darshan argues that if ignorance is not a quality of Brahma, then the notion of non-duality is contradictory. So this way, the Jiva is described, explained, and defined in Hinduism. Jiva actually is a very important term. When Atma takes a human body, it is living in the human body with prana shakti. Pranas and Atma resides in the human body simultaneously. Without pranas, Atma cannot reside in the body. Same way, without Atma, pranas also cannot remain in the human body. So when Atma resides in a human body, it is called Jivatma. As per our Hindu Dharma, in the spiritual heart, Atma and Brahma resides in the spiritual heart together. When the human through sadhanas, austerities, tapas, vairagya and all the various sadhanas is able to divert the mind and ego inward to the spiritual heart, then this mind and ego both are purified and they become the part of Atma. So, Jiva living in the body along with the prana shakti is known as Jivatma. This is Jiva. So Jivatma, Atma, soul, Jiva, both all these terms indicate the same entity, that is Atma. Atma living in the body along with vital force prana shakti is known as Jivatma. Jivatma, Atma and Brahma are not separate. As per Advaita Vedanta, Atma and Brahma are not different, they are the same entity. So, this is a very, very important term. We all must understand this. So, my dear friends, I tried to explain the conception of Jiva. So, thank you for watching and listening this video. Please like, comment and share the video, and please subscribe the channel. So, namaskar my dear friends. Thanks a lot. Namaskar.